How is everyone doing today? Should be live right now. See a couple people hanging out in chat. Think I have everything. Oh, I don't have my subscribers set up. That's the only thing I don't have. Not that the number moves very much, but when it does move, I like to be able to see it live. So yeah, quick one today, an hour, like it's been. Usually it's hour and a half. Gonna do an hour. I've got to mow the lawn later. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. The deadline for the first vault send off of the month was yesterday. So that has not yet gone out. I'm probably going to show those cards that are going out. But if something sneaks in tomorrow morning, I'm not going back this afternoon to the post office. But I set the deadlines at the 1st and the 15th of the month. And then I can sneak in a couple that end up a day or two late. Naturally, just the way any deadline goes, the way anything goes, people are always going to be trying to cut it last minute, right? So, worst case scenario, if you miss it, it's going to go out in a couple weeks. But yeah, let me see what chat's doing now. Appreciate you, Ponga. Nice to see the gold stars in chat throwing out the Dan emotes. How's it going, Brad G? Day 3 back on the job after 5 days in Chicago. It's always tough. It's always tough to get back to work after a nice long vacation, but a work vacation. But I'm sure Chicago was a blast. I'm seeing some Instagram stories, Instagram posts rolling in from people at Worlds now. Some people probably went right from Chicago to Japan, so always something great going on. Work sucks. Will you teach me how to print tendies? You got to ask the right questions. I can't answer the question of how do I print tendies. That's too vague, too broad. But if you ask the right questions, the right answers will be unlocked. Dan, are you growing a mullet? I actually do need a haircut soon. I'm probably gonna trim this later after I mow the lawn because it is pretty warm in the summer. So the beard's probably getting trimmed. I don't know if I'm gonna grow a mullet. I probably can't touch any of this in the back, but no confirmation yet. It's summer right now. I'm probably gonna do like I'm gonna do everything. Beard, hair. If the mullet were to ever happen, it would have to be like peak winter. It would have to be like February timeframe. Though that might be like a multi-year endeavor. I mean, the beard, I was surprised how quickly I could grow quite a decent beard. But a mullet would probably be a multi-year endeavor. Have you gotten any of your Nagaba PSA orders back? I have not. Interesting thing about PSA, I mean, I know I was on Retro's channel with Alex Nostalgianomics, and for anyone who didn't catch that one, I called PSA 10's participation trophies, which in my opinion they are. For a card like the Nagaba EVs, I think the preliminary, for the people who have paid a large amount of money to get their Nagabas done quicker. I mean, I only sent all mine out at bulk. I have a lot more to send out too. Literally, this is one stack of the many that are going out later this week. This is all evolutions. I think this is 25 of each one. And then I have a stack here that's 12 of each one. And then I have a stack here that's 10 of each one. And then I think this is just a stack of like oddball ones because I didn't pull obviously the same amount of each. So I'm going pretty deep on the Nagaba evolutions, and thus far, preliminary, it's going very, very well. Given that the PSA 10 rate out of the gate is like 93%, I think this is one of those cards that people will eventually start getting punished on ultra modern PSA 10s, I think. Look at the illustration GP, whatever they call it, Illustrator Grand Prix Charizard. That card in PSA 10 is quite low. I think Nagaba Evolution is going to be one of those PSA 10s that by the end of the year, after tons and tons and tons of cards coming back and auctioning, and I could be wrong here, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think that card will be like, I mean, most of them sell for 15 to 20 bucks raw. I think 10s will be sub 40. I think 10s will literally be like, you would have been better off selling it raw at PSA because it's a participation trophy. When 95%, 90, 93, 95% of cards get a PSA 10, you need more granularity. I've talked about this many times in different ways. You need that black label. You need that pristine 10. If someone wants to differentiate and get a top 5 percentile card, You can't. If someone wants to get a top 10, 15, 20, 25, if someone wants a top 50 percentile, I want a card that's better than half of those graded. PSA does not offer that for many, many ultra modern cards, especially ultra modern Japanese promos that grade really easy. So we're going to get to a point, and we already are to some extent on certain promos, where you need to go BGS, you need to go CGC, because the participation trophy won't cut it. The only reason the participation trophy works for some amount of time is because people send at bulk, and it takes 3 months to come back. People who do first out of the gate, that ultra paper hands, race to the bottom, hot potato, whatever you want to call it, that works because PSA is expensive and slow. CGC is cheap and fast, so things get ran to the bottom quicker. But given that the pristine 10 rate on the Nagabas is probably still really, really high. I mean, my pristine 10 rate on my last submission was like 75%. 75% isn't quite 93%. I wish we still had CGC perfect 10s. I wish the perfect 10 rate was like 10 to 20%, kind of like the black label rate on the 001 SVP is 20, 25%. It's a lot for a black label, but people just need to like recalibrate. I think their expectations. I think black labels are going for way too much money in many instances, but for now in the short term, like capitalize on it, sell them. But I think there will be a demand. I think part of the reason the black label thing is going on is because PSA 10 is a participation trophy, and people want a chase of some kind, and the only way to get it is, and whether or not it's real. I'm not saying the black label is like real and repeatable. I'm not saying the CGC 10 is real and repeatable. It doesn't really matter at this point in our hobby where we're at. Maybe it will eventually, but as of right now, like, participation trophy is just not going to cut it on a lot of these promos. I know we need PSA 11 is said as like a joke. If PSA ever does a premium 10, Nat and PK talked about it a little bit on that interview. If PSA were to ever do a premium, like I know the whole MBA Mike Baker authenticated is a thing, the sticker. If PSA were to ever do their own version of a pristine 10, black label 10, PSA 11, whatever you want to call it, that would be terrible business practices, in my opinion. The only way they could get away with it is if they said, hey, starting in 2025, PSA 11, PSA pristine 10, perfect 10, whatever they want to call it, it will only apply to 2025 and beyond graded cards. You can do it today. Like, you can't do it on a base Charizard ever, because that was printed in 1999. You can't do it on a Moonbryon ever, because that was printed in 2021. It is only for 2025 and beyond, or whatever year they start doing it. I could see PSA doing that down the line, potentially. It would still be like a big, it would be a big deal, big news. A lot of people probably wouldn't like it. Some people would love it. But I think that would be the good way to appeal to the new high production quality era we're in, and give that like moonshot chance, take away the participation trophy aspect of the whole thing, the whole PSA 10 being 90% 10 rate or whatever on certain cards. And then it would also not piss off like all the 40 million, 50 million people that have PSA labels in hand. Let me try to catch up on the other questions that I missed. I skipped a couple to go to that question, but I won't miss them. Appreciate you, Retro. Hit the like on the way in. How's it going, Vandy, DB? Ornisher or Ornitier. I've pronounced that like 20 different ways. Probably all of them are wrong. I apologize. Brad G wants me to just cut the sides. Daniel looking extra Dan-like today. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I've got my my free t-shirt on. Ranger shirt. Pepsi, reach out if you want to sponsor. I'm not a big fan of Pepsi. More Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew from Pepsi. Coke from Coca-Cola. Retrospects, he mentioned us. We got Alex and Retro in chat. Crazy 10 rate on Nagabas. I got a PSA order back. 53 out of 56 10s. I wish I had paid more. Let me actually pull up quick. Let me pull up to see what the PSA 10s are going for. I wish I had opted to do some PSA at like $25. I'm assuming people did them at. In hindsight, it would have been wise. At this point, I'm too late. I have 25 or 30 sets, 25 or 30 of each out at PSA, so I'm just gonna wait on those coming back. But yeah, as of right now, the margins are probably dumb. The margins are certainly gonna come down. I see people selling sets right now. I'm selling CGC Pristine sets for $800 to $900, which is an insane margin in my opinion. especially with how high the rates are for that. I see people who sold PSA 10 sets for $1,100, $1,200. That's absurd. Those are going to be so much lower in the coming weeks, months. $1,600 for a PSA 10 set, insane. Someone's going to get wrecked on whoever bought that. You'll be able to buy them for so much cheaper in the coming several months. $89 PSA 10 Eevee. I'm selling pristine 10 EVs for like 50 to 70, depending if it's old label, new label. I was selling perfects. I miss the Moonshot Perfect. I can't wait for some black labels to come back. I do have one black label Eevee. I know some black labels have sold for over like 500 of some of the evolutions. I think I listed my Eevee at 600. I should just auction it. I should just really lower it a lot and get that thing dumped. Buy more packs, do it again. Man, $1,800 for the 9-card set. $200 a card. What are people doing? I should have obvious plays are obvious. They don't always pan out, but they're always obvious in hindsight, and they're always obvious until they don't work out, and then they never were obvious at all. But yeah, it almost always happens. It almost always happens, and I should have gone for it. I had so many. But anyways, I've got a lot out at PSA, BGS, and CGC, and I'm very, very optimistic about how that play is going to unfold, given just how well it's gone so far. Yeah, over what is said, I actually had this back and forth. By no means is this like a call out or a response video, or I know Andy did a video recently. Northwoods TCG did a video recently. And one of my biggest fans was in his comments saying, yeah, I know you're talking about Mr. Know-It-All Collectibles, and I'm sure I'll get a comment on this video from him. But always pre-grade your cards. Like I don't know how people come up with, like, what I've been saying lately is you can buy near mint cards on TCG Player and you can end up getting gem mint ones. They won't all be gem mint. You can buy and open Nagaba Evolutions, and just because 93% are grading PSA 10 doesn't mean they'll all be PSA 10. You need to pre-grade slightly, but I've probably opened 2,000, 2,500 Nagaba packs. Less than 10%. Less than 10% I've pre-graded out of, like, okay, this isn't worth grading. So I buy, let's do it with a round number. Let's do it with 1,000. I take 1,000. 10% I pre-grade, I sell them raw. So 100 I sell raw. 90 or 900 out of 1,000 I send. And that's what I'm getting 75% CGC pristines on. That's what I'm getting 93% PSA 10s on. Like, I don't have my PSA numbers yet. But, like, one point I was trying to make, and I've been making some behind the paywall, some publicly, is if you're looking for cards to buy and grade as gem mint, disproportionately, the current gem mint percentage will correlate with the likelihood of you buying a gem mint example for a near mint price on like TCG Player. How people can't get that through their minds, like, I don't understand. When I say Celebrations Charizard, I do not mean that you can go buy 100 Celebrations Charizards on TCG Player and they'll all be gem mint. I think the gem mint rate for that is 65%. If you buy 50, I mean, I actually did the number, so I'm not going to spill all that because that's behind the paywall. But if you buy 50 of those compared to 50 Greninja Gold Stars that have a 20% 10 rate, you're going to get more gradable copies of the Charizard Celebrations. Like, it's not 1-to-1, but when you see a higher Gem 10 rate, like, yes, people are pre-grading, always know that, but the PSA 10 rate will, one of the factors going into the PSA 10 rate will be production quality. Sure, if it's more valuable, it's more likely to be sent. If it's, I mean, that's the main thing. Like, it's more likely to be sent if it's more valuable. It's more likely to be sent if it's in higher condition. So when people are trying to make the argument that people are pre-grading these things and the 10 rate is just showing you how good people are at pre-grading. No, people aren't just magically bad at pre-grading the Greninja Gold Star and magically good at pre-grading Nagaba Evolutions. Nagaba Evolutions have a 4 times Gem 10 rate. 90% versus 25%. 90% versus 22%. Whatever it is exactly. That's production quality. So, like, if you see a card that has a 95% 10 rate, 001 SVP, Nagaba Evolutions, buying those raw near mint, buying those, as long as you're buying from someone who doesn't grade themselves, like, you are disproportionately going to get more likely a gem mint card. I guess that's the end of that rant. I I saw a lot of comments that people were like mad at me and think I'm saying something I'm not. Like, I'm not saying if the 10 rate's over 50%, you're guaranteed to get a 10. No, like the people who sent, of that got 60 whatever percent got 10s. Of the Nagaba Evolutions, 90 something percent got 10s. But still always pre-grade your cards. But know that if the 10 rate is higher, that means that you're more likely to get buy a card that you will deem gradable and then subsequently grade a 10. You can still grade 9s, you can still grade 8s. My first submission of Greninja Gold Stars, I actually graded 5 PSA 10s. And then my second one, I sent 10 more or 15 more. 0 more PSA 10s. I can't say done forever. I'm largely done grading cards with a sub 30-40% PSA 10 rate. Because, like, and I knew when I was sending the cards, they were a lot more borderline. I bought 100, I bought 500, 600 Greninja Gold Stars. And I didn't look through all of them. I looked through maybe 50 to pick the ones. And I knew they were borderline, though. But I intentionally send borderline cards, and I fairly often get 10s. I mean, the 5 10s that I got in the first wave, some of them were borderline, and they got 10s. Like, borderline cards can get 10s. 10s can get 9s, 9 can get 10s, plus or minus 1, as I always say. But yeah, a little bit of a rant there, just because some weird comments on some videos, some people like thinking I'm saying, just because a card is a participation trophy in a PS, I guess maybe that's the terminology that people would push back on, and I guess that's fair. Participation trophy, you literally get it for like, I mean, that's me saying participation trophy. That's me being flippant. That's me being hyperbolic. Participation trophy would be like literally you send it. For sending it, you get a 10. So that's taking it extreme. That's me being hyperbolic. So I will admit that, and I will apologize, I guess. If anyone thought when I said participation trophy literally meant PSA would send you back a 10 guaranteed, that is not what participation trophy means. It's a meme. It's hyperbole. Always pre-grade your cards. Always. Cleaner cards are more likely to get 10s. That's just fairly obvious, it feels, but some things that are fairly obvious, I guess, should go without saying, but they need to be said from time to time, too. Question on eBay Vault consignment. Do you confirm the listing price with the consignee before posting in case low list has changed, etc.? I never list a card for buy it now consignment, whether through the eBay Vault or on my own page, without getting confirmation of, like, here's the price, let's go ahead. I always, either they propose the price and then I list it, or I propose it and I get confirmation. If with the eBay Vault, it adds a couple weeks, so there are times where we send the card out with an agreed price, and a public sale might happen, either significantly higher or significantly lower. I leave it on the consignor's end if you want to go up with it. If you want to go down with it, like, I don't do a ton of, unless I have a specific card. Once that a price is agreed upon, my work generally, I don't like continue keeping up with every single auction. As if, like, if I had my own $10,000 card, I'd be more prone to searching, checking every auction, paying a lot more attention. But yeah, if I actually had a consignor just reach out to me earlier. We're repricing a bunch of their cards because they had some Japanese cards. Some sold at the top. We sold some really quickly, and then other ones are kind of sitting. Race to the bottom right now from what the bubble price was. Where's it going to settle? We don't know. But we're lowering the prices and we're adding best offer. And most of those are consignor initiated, I guess is what I should say. If and when, say you send in a card and we agree on 10K, and then a public auction goes 12, 15K, and you see it, shoot me a message. Like every day that I'm doing listings, especially consignor listings, I always make sure I'm fully caught up on emails and fully caught up on Instagram, Discord messages, just in case someone has like a last minute adjustment to be made. So definitely reach out if and when you want anything changed. Any advice for how to get the most value out of low value inventory, PSA 9 moderns, etc.? I talked about like my mystery slab listings. I'm not a crazy fan of them, but they do work. Speaking of that, I have to make a note. I actually have to go through and my daily deals listings for this month. I need to reprice and re-up the inventory. And another part of it is like, if you try to get every cent out of everything, that's being like penny wise, pound foolish. There comes a time when you just need to be willing to throw an eBay listing up and take 40% via an auction. There comes a time where you just need to bulk stuff out and let someone else extract the money. I consign with a lot of different people. random things from that big collection that I bought. Certain things like aren't going to be in your area of expertise, and certain things aren't going to be worth your time, even if they are in your area of expertise. So you always need to just be willing to like move things on down the line if they're not an optimal use of your time. I'm going to have an upcoming video soon on diversifying my business, different revenue streams, and then scaling each revenue stream, the pros and cons of each. And one thing I'll talk about is trying to optimize my time. If I have one task that pays me $500 an hour and I can do that for 40 hours a week, well, I'm going to do that for 40 hours a week and just forget everything else, as long as it's sustainable, as long as I enjoy it, and as long as every other thing. But if I have $500 an hour and I can only do it 2 hours a week, well, I do that for my 2 hours a week, and then I look for the next thing and the next thing. And if you have a task that, like, anytime I can go to a monster box and I can list on TCG Play, I can make $5-10 an hour anytime I want. But, like, I try to fill my bucket of 40, 50, 60 hours a week, however many hours I'm working, with the most profitable endeavors. Like, certain ones you have to do. You can't decide to not ship your listings. You can't decide to, like, not answer your emails, not talk to your consigners. You need to do the things you need to do. And then thereafter, when you're deciding how to utilize your time, do what makes you the most money, generally speaking. So sometimes getting the most value out of low value inventory is literally just chucking them for a low amount of money to get them out of your way so that you can focus on higher profitable things, or so that you can focus on going to the zoo with your family, doing things you enjoy otherwise. It's all a big optimization problem. Would you also change the label together with that change like CGC just did? Are you talking about if PSA went with an 11? I would assuming they would do a different kind of label if and when down the line they ever did that. I think they wouldn't do an overarching thing. As I said, it would be like this year and onward only. Dan, I hear there was an opening over at Blake's Break. Should I apply? All depends on, I haven't followed the whole saga, but yeah, I guess I'll stay away because I haven't followed the whole thing. Appreciate you, Java. Oh, I saw somebody just got moderated. I didn't have my live chat up on live. I'm gonna have to check out these deleted messages. Oh, is it just a bot? It's just a bot typing X, it looks like. Appreciate you, Retro, for wielding that wrench. Appreciate you, Java. Sorry I missed that. I usually have my live chat scrolling, and then I have my highlight chat over here, and I just completely missed that. Got some people receiving the gifted memberships. We got the ball bass from Java with the gold. Java's one of the golden boys. Yikes, is English dead? QC is cheeks, and they ruined 151 set composition. I haven't seen the set list. I try to not look at spoilers, but yeah, like I'm grading many Japanese promos. I'm grading many celebrations cards because the 10 rates are high. I want participation trophies because, in my opinion, the market is still overvaluing participation trophies, and I don't think they always will. So I'm gonna get while the getting's good. And that's where I was talking about CGC and BGS having that next tier. I miss CGC having the perfect already. Oh, L-Dubs had a $15 Nagaba order, it looks like. He got FIFO'd in the good way. I mean, FIFO existing would be best for everyone, I think. Except for, like, L-Dubs here was just one of the beneficiaries of getting FIFO'd in the right direction. So somebody sank so L-Dubs could swim on that one. Why not go for consecutive certs? Are you talking about, like, when I grade like 25 of a card, I don't do the cert thing. Like, the consecutive cert thing to me is just really silly. If it brings someone pleasure and they enjoy it, like, whatever. I'm not trying to yuck yums. I just don't get it whatsoever. The amount of time it takes me to enter 25 of each 9 cards is like 3 minutes. I can do this order and ship it out. If I wanted to do like 25 chunks of Eevee, is it Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon? If I did that 25 times, my entry would take like an hour or more. I'm not about to, try to chase consecutive certs like that, if that's what you're talking about. Brad's my hater's biggest fan. I'm not trying to silence anyone. I don't ban anyone. I don't know-it-all collectors. I mean, I banned sex bots. It looks like retro ban, some kind of a bot dropping a bunch of XXX. I don't know. I don't know what they were doing there, but yeah, they said ass, and then they said SS, and then they said XXX like a million times. A million being like 15. But anyways, uh, yeah, I'm not buying any SV right now. I'm not buying any Paldea. I'm not buying any, like, I'm just literally staying with the participation trophies, quite largely. That is an amazing order to get FIFO'd. FIFO'd in it. Like, FIFO'd, when I say FIFO'd, someone is getting, like, wrecked. There needs to be a different word for it, but I guess FIFO'd is like, but FIFO, like, you actually, but yours wasn't the first in, so yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time trying to find a good thing to say for that, but I just started playing Old School RuneScape again because of you. I apologize for that. That's a big time sink. Also, as someone who's doing the reselling thing as a side hustle, do you recommend a certain amount to put back to inventory? That is such a personal thing. Do you have a sugar mama at home that pays your bills like me? Do you have a wife or a significant other, whatever, that covers all your day-to-day things? Are you meeting your savings goals? Do you have an emergency fund? Watch my video from Monday talking about, like, that is how I allocate money. That video, 32 minutes, I know it was a lengthy one, but I will get more in depth in an upcoming video on finances, personal finances. But I do not put any money into inventory until all my other expenses are taken care of. And household expenses are taken care of by my wife, filling my 401ks, filling my IRAs, maxing out every tax advantage account possible. I do that first. And then if and when I have cash flow available to me, then I throw it in cards. That is what I do. That is not what's right for everyone. I paid off my student loans early years ago. I paid off car loans early years ago. I paid off my house early. Not mathematically optimal in many ways, and I'll get into that deeper in a personal finance video again. But yeah, there's no, like, people want to hear a flat global rule, 20%, 10%, 50, whatever. It can't be done like that because everyone's situation, personal finances are very personal. Everyone's situation is different. Gem rate on a lot of SV stuff is 45%, and I think less than 15% of what I'm receiving, I'd qualify as gradable. So that's where, I mean, that's where people are doing a good job pre-grading. I mean, it should be fairly obvious. Like, again, like, Charizard is a more expensive card too. So Charizard, many people will probably deem worthwhile sending, even at a 9 grade. So that one is almost lowered. You need to look at, like, I haven't looked at Blastoise, I haven't looked at Venusaur, I haven't looked at all the cards from Celebrations, but I think a valuable card otherwise should have their 10 rate dragged down slightly, because people will deem it worth grading even in 8 and 9 condition from time to time. And then if it's a super cheap card, I think you're disproportionately more likely to have, like, yeah, a much higher 10 rate than would be, like, even more so than would be reasonable. Like, if you have a $1 card, people are going to pre-grade that a lot harsher than a $50 card is what I'm trying to say. But by no means should you buy 100 of an SV card and think 45 will get 10s. Sounds like what Comet K is saying, maybe only 15% will. Start out, like, buy a few batches, buy a batch of 10, buy a batch of 20, grade a few, see what comes back, figure it out. Like, it's not that hard. And some people get really, maybe I'm getting too worked up over the response to the response, or I don't know. Do you think Gold Star Greninja has wheels? I don't speculate. I think almost every single card in plastic is overvalued. That's not to say all of them are, and that's not to say they should all go to 0. But I think the plastic premium almost universally is just absurd to me. So I sell plastic. I don't buy plastic. Stop telling people everything is 10s, Dan. People are gonna to say that I'm being like okay, whatever. Like, to say that my channel is being irresponsible, giving people bad indications of what they might get if they were to grade cards. I get, like, to say that maybe I make grading sound too easy. And look at my shorts. Look at my short of me getting wrecked in my slab optimization. I show what I get. I show the 10s that I get, the 9s, the 8s. I don't show every return lately because it's just the same things. It just gets boring. But to say that my channel is being like irresponsible, I guess it's a critique. It's their opinion. It's whatever. But kind of mind blowing that we're at a point that I'm called bearish. I'm called bullish. I'm called an investor. I'm called a scalper, flipper, hoarder. I'm called so many. I guess I don't even know what I am anymore. If I'm one of those channels that's irresponsibly costing a lot of people money, one thing that I'll say is if people are grading because of watching my channel and hearing about these easy free 10 participation trophies, I think they'll learn a lot. I mean, I hope they're not doing it with 100 card, 200 card, 500 card submissions. But if you grade your first submission because of my channel and whatever grades you get back, like a lot of people, I think, will grade a lot of 10s because that's just what, I mean, PSA gives a lot of 10s. But the people who don't, I think they'll learn a lot. I think a 50 card submission is worth the lesson, whether it's half 10s or whether it's half 8s and 3/4 8s. I don't know. It's I guess I'll need to be more careful. I'm gonna make a video talking about the whole participation trophy thing though, because I think that deserves its own. Retro, you get so hung up and so worked up on things. The theoretical future that I was talking about, where I was a multi-deca millionaire and I might buy 10 or 20 black labels because they're not participation trophies, I think a 001 SVP black label in 20 years will be like a $50 card. Tops. Might be a $20 card. Genuinely, that's what I think. I think that a PSA 10 001 SVP will be raw price. I think that there will just be, people will just wake up one day, maybe they won't. And if they won't, like if they don't, it's an amazing world for people doing business in plastic. But yeah, you get so hung up on that stuff, Retro. Come on. When you said that, what I thought you meant is just that the card has such a high 10 rate that you won't have problems finding a 10, nothing more. Have you sold any of your V-Star boxes in preparation for the reprint? I've not. I think the prices have already come down a ton, right? I have like 60 or 80 boxes. I probably should have listed a couple cases. I'm going to make a note to do that. I'm probably already way too late. So many things I'm just way too slow, way too late on. If I had just immediately gone and listed them, I probably could have capitalized a bit more than I will. But I just plan on buying a bunch more when it goes cheap, if it goes cheap. Yeah, watch out. This channel has censorship. I mean, I just allowed. I stood idly by as my moderator, Retrospects, took away the First Amendment rights of Michael Hushey to say XXX, XXX, XXX as many times as he wanted. I'm one of those dangerous censoring channels. I had a lot of eBay authenticity cards getting forwarded to the buyer without protection. I emailed my rep. I have no idea what happened. I've not yet heard back, but I am going to share in the old Evil Paywall Discord what I hear back from my rep on why no errors that I could see. Right set, right grade. I didn't add the cert, but I've had some cards today without the cert getting authenticated. So it's, at first I was thinking you might need to add the cert to everything to get it authenticated, but you don't, because I've had some without the cert getting authenticated. I don't even remember what I paid for my V-Star boxes. I think I paid 80-ish, but I'm not positive. If you were a Pokemon company, would you hire new artists for cards that might capture new customers or solidify and grow the fan base for the current artists? A little bit of both, probably. I think they're constantly getting new artists coming in and out. I think it's cool what they do with the Art Academy. I think they shouldn't overdo it. They shouldn't do that annually or anything, but to do those periodically, they just did the promos through the Pokemon Center. I think that was a fan art thing. The Illustrator promo Charizard, that was another fan art thing. Confirmed censorship. Yeah. I knew, Alex. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Big drama now. I see message retracted by Nostalgianomics. We've got a self-censure going on here. You guys can't see it because I don't have it set up that way anymore. But Alex just censored himself. You better watch out. He's must not be a fan of the First Amendment if he's deleting his own messages. I don't know what the start of that is. What's the Pokemon market look like to you in 5 years? I think in 5 years, I'm probably completely wrong here. I think people will be more rational. I think it will be harder to make as much margins on graded cards. I think it will be more optimized. I could be wrong though. Maybe that's like maybe that's the opinion I hold because I want to get my ass in gear and take advantage of it as much as I can while it's here. Maybe it will just continue. So some of it's reasonable too. Like if you can grade a $5-10 card and turn it into 20 or 30, 40, make $10, make $15 for grading a card. That's reasonable. When you can make hundreds though, when you can make 50, 100, hundreds, feels like too much. So I'm just going to do it as much as I can while it's here. What's the next Nagaba Eevee play? I guess I haven't seen it yet. There's a lot of them though. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of Nagaba Eevee plays actively going. So I have enough to keep me busy with a full-time job on what I see currently. So when the next one pops up, I'm going to go big into it like I did with Nagaba Eevee. Some of them are going to flop too. Some of them I'm going to get wrecked on. The punishment is so much smaller than the payoff. So like I'm going to go until I get punished too big and then I'll reevaluate. But I don't know. I don't know when that'll happen. Can't even run to Home Depot without Dan going live shaking my head. It is weird how there hasn't been a new evolution. Nick and I talked about that in a Pokeflips, and remember he said that, oh, they should make a dark type evolution. Umbreon, as if that doesn't exist. I think a ghost one would be cool. We kind of had the whole joke about like how would a ghost type one be created? A little bit morbid there. I'm already over halfway through my live though, and I've not shown off the cards I wanted to show off. I'm gonna try to catch up really quick and then show those off. There we go. So Alex has the wife, has the sugar mama, has the paid bills, has the other investments. Once all that is done, I go all in after that. Like I am only taking out what is tax advantaged every year from my business. Everything else I'm reinvesting in and going for it. So whether that makes me bullish, bearish, investor, flip, whatever I am, I don't know. This is just my channel. This is what I'm doing. Do what's right for you. Retro bullish on Deoxys slabs for all the aliens. So how I ship a PSA slab, I keep them right behind me now. I used to have them somewhere else. I'm trying to 5S my area and keep things more organized. I do a cardboard sleeve folded over, a quad 0, and a double 0. So this card goes inside of it, into the quad 0, into the double 0, 6x4 label on it. I don't agree with the whole box thing. That's probably because I ship 30 slabs a day. I know Rusty though. Rusty probably ships more a day than I do. And he goes with a box. I don't agree. I think it's too much money. Not only the money, the storage space, and the time. So double bubble with a cardboard sheet inside takes me less time, takes less money, takes up less space. And I never have issues with it. Like the last crack card was years ago. Yeah, this is actually something I'm going to talk about, Josh, in one of my personal finance videos. It was very pleasant to see how much people responded like positively to the personal finance video. It was 4th out of my last 10 videos, which is pretty solid. I was expecting like 6th to 8th. And tons of comments. The engagement on that video, so much higher than most of my videos. Like maybe my highest ever, I don't know. But I knew when I was paying off my house. I had a 3% 15-year mortgage. I did not know rates would do what they did. In hindsight, it was a worse decision even. But even in the event that 15 years rates had stayed around 3% for mortgages, it would have been a bad decision because historically speaking, the market returns 7, 8, 9, 10%. In hindsight, I thought the bubble was going to pop quicker and worse than it did. So I should have instantly auctioned all my WotC. I should have bought all Japanese. Like, obviously, in hindsight, we could all be multi-billionaires. We could be trillionaires if we had hindsight. It's silly to get hung up on it. I don't sweat it. I don't worry about it. I have slept much better at night just every day since I've been debt-free, and I intend to never go in debt again. That's just me personally being, like, overly conservative in many ways. And just, I hate banks. I hate banks. It's disgusting to me how it's 2023, the way that they treat customers, some of the things that have gone on with some of the big ones, the things they do, doing shady dealings, and how easy they give mortgages to people who can't afford it. They give people enough rope to hang themselves, and a lot of people just take it all and hang themselves with it. I do not like banks at all. The things that they do, and I don't want to owe them money. I don't want to pay them interest. So I know that's suboptimal for me in many ways, but that's just something I morally, emotionally, whatever it is, that's just the way I transact. Pokemon uses Pokemon to make money. Why do people get upset when normal folks do the same? People are really weird. Yeah, people are really weird about businesses taking money out of the hobby. Uh, um, man's not a robot. He's just extra white. Um, in 5 years, people will not pay as much for participation trophies. I mean, PSA 10. And people get butthurt over like hearing PSA 10s are participation trophies. I'm only talking about where the PSA 10 rate is 50, 60 plus percent. If the PSA 10 rate is 5%, if you're talking WotC, if you're talking mid-era, if you're talking anything where it's sub 25%, anywhere it's sub 50%, anywhere the card's actually hard to find mint, it is not. All these ultra modern things with pop 10,000, pop 20, 30, 40,000, and 90% 10 rates, 80, 70, 60% 10 rates. That's a participation trophy to me. Again, hyperbole. Retro's going off now. I apologize, Retro. Question, you own 5,000 Fusion Strike boxes. You wake up tomorrow and the boxes are $400 a box. Everything else is your inventory in the same price. How do you proceed with liquidating? I mean, that many, you're going to move the price probably. I would send a pallet to Troll and Toad Evo. I would list a pallet on TCG Player, not all at once. I wouldn't just list 600 boxes at once. I would list 24 boxes at a time. I would sell as many as I could at 400 until I got them down to like 370, 350. And I would see how many I got rid of and I would reevaluate. If I could sell every single one without taking the price below 300 within a couple months, I would do that. Yeah. But it would be through eBay. It would be private deals. It would be every which way I could. Trying to spread it out. Private deals are good because they don't show up on the market anywhere. If I could do private deals here and there for 350 a box, 340 a box, you could probably move. You would be surprised how many you could move really, really quickly. And 5,000 times 400. Let me just double check my math. $2 million, right? Yeah, $2 million. That would get me enough money to put me in like my financial independence where I need to be, 4% rule. So I would look to get to my main goal is to get to my 4% rule as fast as I can through tax advantage accounts. It's not worthwhile to me to do it through like brokerage accounts. Pay taxes on the gains, pay all the extra taxes on the front end, showing all that extra income. So yeah, that's my overall idea. Walrus gets into flipping. Dan now wants to kill graded profits. If you make 20% profit on a play, did you get punished? No, I mean, I think there'll be a lot of people getting actually punished which day I don't know when. I think PK on those packs might get punished. Rooting for you, PK, but yeah, I'm not. I don't think the outlook is good on that. I know his weren't all from boxes with the impressions, but we'll see how it pans out. People need to get punished a little bit though, myself included. You know that Umbreon was going to be a poison type. I didn't know that. Z, let's quit playing footsie and put Dan out of business. Bring it. Game point. I'll check you the ball. Let's play. It's too easy. I want more competition. Bring it. People, there are. You'll know if it's you, and you're not alone. Don't think that it's only you. If you've messaged me before, if you've DM'd me, Facebook Messenger, text message, Discord call, whatever it is, if you've complained about me spilling plays, this applies to you. There are people out there that fear that's spilling. I'm just trying to make it a little bit tougher. I'm gonna fall asleep here at the wheel. It's too easy. It's too easy. And I know that certain listeners of mine will hate that I'm saying that in that way, that I'm Mr. Know-It-All Collectibles. I'm being facetious, flippant, whatever word is most appropriate for that. I'm not actually a know-it-all. I know that facetious and flippant would both kind of apply in that situation, but one of them's more appropriate. I'm not sure which. I'm not great. Not great with, never was great in English. But yeah, that's, people get so afraid of plays being spilled and spilling the beans and their margins being wasted away. If you're that concerned, I think that's coming. Like, maybe things will be expedited with me spilling some plays. I am keeping some behind a paywall to slow it down a little bit, but I think that's inevitable. I think that's coming, and I don't really fear it. I'm quite confident in myself that I'm able to transact and make enough money. The word enough exists. For most people, it's just more. Most people, when they stop being able to make today's margins on slabs, they're gonna go away. So it will get easier for me because there'll be less competition. The market can drop 90%, I think, prices and volume, and I'll still be around because most people will leave. Rusty was doing it 12 years ago. Nick was doing it years earlier than I was, I think. There were people that were full-time from 04 to 2010. Maybe I'll pivot to something else in life. Maybe if my hourly wage gets low enough, I'll pivot towards something else. But yeah, I'm not overly worried about all that. I think it's inevitable that a lot of this will go away. I usually don't seal the first bubble mailer. I usually just fold it over. Sometimes I do accidentally, but usually I try not to. Coming from a bank attorney, stay away from debt, period. Mathematically, debt can be used to do great things, but yeah, I'm not so opposed to it. I'm only out of it completely because Pokemon treated me so well. Had Pokemon not gone insane, had 2020 not happened, I wouldn't be completely out of debt. I would still have my mortgage likely. But I was a big proponent of like 15-year mortgages as opposed to 30 for the lower rate, for the lower risk. The payment's not much higher. But yeah, that's getting deeper in. Let me continue to answer questions while I start showing cards. So these are all going to the vault. This is not exhaustive. There's more going to the vault. This is just what I had handy, what I'm able to quickly produce. I do have a couple other stacks that are going. I didn't have time to get them all ready. But yeah, these are all going to the vault for the August send-off. This was a recase. This was a Gem Mint 9.5 that got recased. As I said, if I've told you you're going off the first August submission tomorrow, your cards are going off for the first August submission. I know that there's just a few in here. A few in here that did not make it onto the video, but they will be going. A bunch of Team Rocket Returns, Gem Mint 10s. I wanted to show these quickly because I see it's already almost 4:20, and nice fruit roll up Meowth. I didn't want to forget showing those off. So now I can go back full screen, and I can continue ranting for another 10 minutes. Do you use eBay promoted listings? Any tips or tests you have run? I have a couple of videos about it. Look at my one about Celebrations Charizards. I have a couple of videos where I talk about it. Don't promote something that you're the only one listed. Don't promote something that has less than 20 results. Promote stuff that is high competition. Promote stuff that there's 50 plus listed. If you are the super niche item that only someone who's looking for that item is going to buy it, and you're already low list, like, don't pay extra. To me, it's fairly obvious. Give us a debt-free Scream Dan. Is that something from... I feel like that's something from, like, Dave Ramsey or something. It probably is. He's very anti-debt. WotC is so underrated. Too bad markets are irrational. I feel like WotC is rated, and a lot of other stuff is overrated. I don't feel like WotC necessarily has to come up. I think people say, this is 300, this is 300. This WotC should go to 3,000 to make it make sense. Maybe the WotC stays 300 and the Modern goes to 30. That's also an alternative. Or maybe the WotC goes to 30 and the Ultra Modern goes to 3. I mean, any of these things can happen, right? You just need to be careful saying that this should go up because this is the same price as this. Go Dan Ramsey. Yeah, be careful on stealing from the government to package items. I would not recommend. I would not recommend using UPS labels to subsidize your business when you're shipping out via USPS. If a company has free supplies, use them as intended through that company. If your business needs to be subsidized by stealing from other businesses or government entities, what are you doing? uh You know, a joke broke through when he just laughs at the chat and says, without highlighting the message. Uh, does your wife enjoy her job or does she want to stay home and retire too, but you won't let her? I'll talk about this more in the Catch 'em All Collectibles household spending revealed video that I do. I might do it Monday. It might be a few weeks out. I'm not sure. I actually need to update. I need to finish out 2022 because I never did. But no, she likes her job. Like any job, there's parts about it you like. There's parts about it you don't like. Overall, she'd probably rather like not have to work it. She'd probably rather just be able to like tutor some kids here and there, or do her own thing on her own schedule. But like our kids aren't in school for the next 13 to 15 years, guaranteed. Our thinking, we've had this conversation to some levels, but I'm sure we'll have it more in depth as time goes on. But right now, trying to get as much out of Pokemon as I can while the getting's good. And if and when we ever reach our number, we can reevaluate. If and when there are moral questions around multimillionaires retiring early off all their investments and then qualifying for healthcare subsidies through the Affordable Care Act. I'm not in a position to do that. I've never been on one of those. I'm not saying anything towards anyone who does. They don't set the rules. They go off of the rules are. But yeah, early retirement, a lot of times people will have very, very high net worths, and the way that they take small incomes from their passive, like dividends and things of that nature, they're able to actually qualify for a lot of government subsidies. FAFSA for like college tuition for their kids, Affordable Care Act coverage, free, cheap, not necessarily free, but cheap, reduced healthcare subsidies through just having super low income, but a high net worth. So 5, 10, 20 years from now, the entire picture can completely change. So I'm not like overly trying to plan or optimize for any of that. Right now, I'm in my income building net worth phase, and I'm trying to build it in the most tax advantage way possible. But once we get to the next, whether that's 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but once we get to the amount of 4% rule, the amount of FI, which, pending how things go, it could be within a couple years, then we'll reevaluate. We'll have a conversation and how happy are you where you're at? Do you want to be there another 10 years? There are different considerations with her retirement too. Like she's been there around 10 years now. I think very soon she will qualify for some amount of retirement at age 60. She has a pension through New York State retirement system. It's X% at 10 years. It goes up by X% per year up to 20. It caps at 30. It's a big multivariable problem that needs to be optimized. And happiness is in there. It's not just money. Happiness is in there too. So yeah, that's many, many conversations to be had between now and then. But as of right now, like she's happy doing what she's doing. Oh, so all cards got sent to CGC because the eBay launched the new condition requirements, and I was assuming it had something to do with that. Makes sense. Appreciate the info, Stuart. My question was basically asking how the hell does Rudy plan to sell all his Chilling Reign in 10 years? He can run, I think he has 2,000, 2,300 patrons. He can run a sale to his patrons for sub 10%, like 10% market, and he can move an insane amount. He gets away with he gets away with not charging sales tax, and I don't know how he gets away with that, but maybe it's a Florida thing. Maybe they don't, I don't know. But he's able to just knock 10, 15% off. People are saving sales tax. They just buy through PayPal. He has super low fees because people buy through PayPal. So, easily he could sell that. He could sell that within 10 months if he wanted to, and barely have an effect on the market, as long as the market doesn't go drastically down, I think. That Z comment struck a nerve. No, I'm like genuinely. James is killing it. I love to see other people doing well. I think like I watch a ton of YouTube. I don't do a ton of looking at other people's eBays. I don't do a ton of over analyzing. I probably should look at more what my competition is doing, but I don't do it that much. I think a lot of people do way too much of it. I think a lot of people kind of like, not just speaking Pokemon, speaking society in general. I think they look at social media and they see other people's wins and they get jealous and they get envious. You always need to be careful. I have a video. I have a video from several months ago, maybe a year ago, about keeping up with the Joneses and not comparing yourselves to others, especially others' highlights reels. But I think a lot of people watch people and like root for them to lose. Like, I don't like this person. They have more than I do. I should have that. I want them to lose. I want them to fail. So I think that's like way too prevalent in life. I wish the best for everybody. I wish the best for my haters even, as Brad's talking about him. um. Oh, let me see. How's it going, the old card shop? My lights are not red in the background, but they probably should be. I sold all my junk slabs and raw cards that I don't care for into gold and silver and just a better long-term hold. Modern Pokemon is a play right now. In the future, nobody will want what everyone has. For a period, I was sucked into the whole stacker mindset. I was stuck into the whole like real money, bring us back to the gold standard. There was a period there where I actually used to frequent Kitco, the Kitco forums. Before I was on E4, I was on Kitco for probably a few thousand posts across several years. And I know a lot of people that are hardcore stackers slash preppers slash doomsdayers. I have some silver. I have some silver primarily through like junk silver, like Mercury Dime binders, walking $half binders, and Morgans and Peace dollars. And I never got too heavily into actual bullion like bars, but I do have American Eagles. I think it's a terrible investment personally, relative to keeping that money working in my business, and relative especially to S&P 500. The scalability, near infinite liquidity, all that good stuff. I don't need to go on and on about that. Do you enjoy talking about TCG player grading every single day? It's fine. Am I going to Charlotte solo? My wife's not coming, if that's what you're asking about. How's my mental health these days? I think it's really good. I've never really, thankfully, struggled with depression or anything like that. I think I'm fairly robotic in that I'm just hanging out around the median a lot of times. Debt per citizen in the U.S. is 250,000. So even when you think you're out, you really aren't. Oh, as far as being out of debt, yeah. How do they want to be paid? Cash or check? If I could pay off my portion and then just emancipate myself from the whole. If I could opt out of Social Security at this point and just do my own thing, I think I would be further ahead. Even if I forfeited everything I paid in thus far, I think I'd be further ahead. But it'll be interesting to see 40 years from now what we actually get for Social Security, if anything. Do you think grading raw with PSA is only viable in USA, or do you think I could do it from UK with similar success? The margins are so massive, you could definitely do it for the added cost and time from UK. How long that will last, I don't know. If your business needs to be subsidized by the government or other entities, what are you doing? Answer, probably holding public office or running a Fortune 500 company. It's actually a big thing in the fire community. Like I said, where they get like a $3 million net worth, 4% rule, that pays them $120,000 a year. Even less drastic. I guess if you did that, a lot of it would be in tax advantage accounts, so it doesn't show up as income. You might have a situation where you're getting like 60K of dividends that you're living off of. So your income as a household is only 60K. You would qualify for a lot of subsidies. You would get a lot of government tuition assistance for your children for college. And whether that's moral or not, like, that's not for me to decide. That's not for them to decide. The argument is like, and this goes, this ventures closely into politics and things that I don't want to get into, but it's good business practice to pay very little in taxes legally. If you are avoiding taxes legally through rules that were set, you didn't make the rules. All you can do is play by them. And one thing that's rampant in our hobby, like, it is so, there are so many loopholes, strategies where you can very vastly minimize your tax liability. So many people are so dumb and don't consult with professionals, and they do it the wrong way, and they risk going to jail. They risk like actually, they don't mess around with tax evasion. And a lot of people in this hobby evade the hell out of taxes like crazy when they could do almost all the things they're doing just legally above board if they'd pay an accountant a couple grand a year or a few $100 a year, depending on how big they are. It's crazy. Dan just retired already. I mean, I'm being told I'm a banker. I'm told I'm an investor. I'm told I'm a bear. I'm told I'm a bull. I'm told I'm a banker. Nobody tells me I'm a fisherman. Z's trying to tell me to retire. I'm actually, if I had $10 million tomorrow, I would be bored. Like, I don't play the Powerball. If I won the Powerball, I would be bored just doing nothing. Like, I would have to do something. I'm not going to retire to a golf course. I'm not going to retire and do nothing. I genuinely think I'll always have an eBay. I love eBay. Before Pokemon, it was Steins. Before coins, video games. I've always, since I was 16, I've been selling stuff on eBay. For more than half my life, I've been selling stuff on eBay. I just enjoy it. Even when the money's not necessary. I'll probably, like, get rid of a lot of the lower end stuff, and I'll probably just, like, play around in a lot higher end stuff, but I feel like I'll always be doing a little bit of buying and selling because I just really, really enjoy it. Banker's gonna run till the wheels fall off. Dan, who do you root for to lose? I'm not rooting for anyone to lose. I think I think a lot of people will lose. Just I think at some point the hobby will get smaller. I think at some point the hobby and the people that go the biggest and leverage the hardest are usually the ones that get what does Warren Buffett say? He says when the tide goes out, you can find out who is swimming naked or something like that. I'm terrible at quoting people, but when the tide goes out, you find out who's been swimming naked. That just has something to say about like the level of risk if and when things go bad. If and when things go good, the people with the most leverage usually make the most money. But if and when things go bad, a lot of people just lose it all. I'm jealous of Z, mainly the cowboy hat, though. Jealousy is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy, yeah. Dan instead of comparison is the thief of joy, Ernesto says Dan is the thief of joy. Retro says Nesto is the thief of plays. Dan, do I ever get sad? Like, absolutely I get sad from time to time. I think losing loved ones is like the most sad thing that can happen in life. And I think a lot of people get way too sad over things that just don't matter, don't affect them. But yeah, like, I believe it or not, I've actually cried before. I mean, I've cried tears of joy when my children were born. I've cried tears of sadness when pets and things. Thankfully, I've not had like too many super close people to me in life. Like, I still have one set of grandparents, the other set of grandparents. They passed away when I was really little, and I don't really remember that well. But no, thankfully, like, I've not had too many super close people to me lost. But like pets, we had a lot of pets growing up, and some of them lived to 15, 16, but it's always so tough. Always so tough. It's going to be so much harder too. Inevitable someday. Thinking about like me losing my pets, they're my kids' pets too. Like, that's going to be heart-wrenching. That's going to be real tough. Terrible way to end a live. I'm going to try to find something a little bit happier than that. Yeah, preppers absolutely need to include like a sealed kiwi, a bunch of double A's, make sure they have their batteries refreshed in their yellow crystal, things like that. That's a big thing. I can go back through and play all the games once all that goes down. More tax advice. I'm repping Pepsi because they gave me a free shirt when I went to a Rangers game. Confirmed Dan gets food stamps. I'm making a lot of money right now with what Pokemon is doing. I've been an engineer. I'm not saying anything towards anyone who is. Like, they're there for a reason. I've never been on any kind of government subsidy like that. Again, not getting into politics, things like that. I know people in my personal life that are very negative towards people who utilize government benefits that are there for a reason. And then they just like evade tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They get white collar welfare because they just like evade taxes and stuff. The mental hurdles that need to be run through is like oh, someone getting 5 or 10K of help from the government is the worst thing ever, and they're terrible people. But then someone evading 50,000, 100,000 in taxes, it's like they see no issue with that, and it's that's we're getting way too close to politics here. Don't hate the player, hate the unfair tax exempts. Oh God, tax advise on all collectibles. Oh, the comments are gonna be funny on this one. Yeah. Amplitude, we don't put that in. Don't put that in writing, please. I'm not gonna put it on the screen. Oh, I always rooted for Tom Brady to lose as a Jets fan. That's where some people, and I don't actually like. I'm mad when Brady won his 7 Super Bowls or however many it was, 8 or 12 or 24. I was mad every night, every night that Super Bowl ended. I was mad. I was mad for a day over that, and then it was like when I was younger, I used to be mad for like a week or two, especially when I saw in college all my Patriots friends. Sports don't get to me as much as they used to. Life is too short, and the Jets and the Rangers and the Mets and they all suck too much to let it get to me too much. Oh, my life would be very bad if I was way too passionate about sports. I did a short. I'll need to do a short again at some point soon. But look at the total sales volume on eBay. Look at the total print run every year by Pokemon. Look at gem rate. Look at how many cards are graded. There are so many indicators publicly available for free about the size of the hobby. I think I have live chat. I feel like I'm missing some comments, but maybe not. Retro says new Java was sus. What did he say? Oh, wait, I root for the Packers to lose. I missed it because I had highlighted it. I need to go very, very soon. Dan only cries behind paywalls. Oh, God. Dan cried of jealousy when his wife pulled a number 2 card. Oh, God. I did not cry tears of joy. I was very happy when I sold the trophy cards, but I did not cry tears of joy over that. I think I've only cried tears of joy a couple times in my life. Probably the 2 births of my children. I think. Oh, you're. How's it going, Terry? Nice to see you in here. I don't like talking about people when they're not here, so I'm glad to see you here. You were mentioned. Your comment on your comment on Andy's video, which we went back and forth in the comments, and I enjoy the criticism. I think it's good to voice your concerns if you have any. I don't think they're all fully valid, but you think they are. So it's your opinion versus mine. It's all fine and fair. But yeah, I'm not about as long as people stay respectful. Like his skin is too thin, he might cry. Like that's not needed. I'm not gonna cry over it. But things like that, attacking people personally. If you say that you don't like me, if you say that I just talk to what do you say? Know-it-all collectibles. I act too pompous, arrogant, whatever. I don't agree, but like that's fair. That's a fair. But as long as you stay respectful, as long as you don't start like curse, yeah, like we're fine. Like I'm sure if and whenever you were to come to a Collecticon or something, we could meet and we could function together fine. I don't have any disdain. I don't have any ill will towards you. I hope you don't for me either. But yeah, it's it's all good. It's all good. There has been Terry's not the only one. There's been some others along the line that have had some yeah. But with that, I'm not ending because Terry's here. Don't think that. I'm already 8 minutes overtime. I need to get this thing ended. But as always, I'd have a beer with you too. Love to see that. If anyone has any comments after the stream, if anyone wants to continue any conversation, I don't mean to cut it off. But yeah, leave in the comments. I still reply to every comment. As long as you're not spamming in the chat, as long as you're not being outright disrespectful. I don't think I've ever banned anybody for being disrespectful. I would, but I haven't. I've only banned sex bots and people who spam. Like, well, that was actually Retro who banned him. I didn't ban him. But anyways, I need to get going. I actually have to mow my lawn tonight, not just for the memes. I have to do that. I appreciate everyone all watching and hanging out. I will catch you all later.